Welcome back to another podcast. My name is Scott.
And my name is Jeff.
And this is our podcast, New Steeple.
Same people.
And we actually have a new person today.
That's right. Yep.
But she's still the same Elizabeth that we've all grown to know and love.
It's our children's minister,
Elizabeth O'Brien.
Clap.
Clap. Good job. How you doing? Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I know this is not your wheelhouse. This is not something you really love to do.
No,
but you're doing it.
I am.
Which
she's actually a pro because she gets behind the camera, in front of the camera all the time now.
Yeah, this part's just a little uncomfortable, but that's okay.
It is. It's good. Okay, so you have been here at Johnson Street for how long?
Well, let's see, since 1980. So y'all do the math.
Okay, 1980. And you have been primarily a teacher that entire time.
Yes, I taught in public schools for 28 years. And then I felt like it was time to leave that profession. And the job of children's minister, Lois Power had the position before, and she was ready to move on. And I was ready to move on. And so I one day walked up to Scott and said, "So, could an elder's wife be the children's minister?" And he went, "Yes, that's." I asked him if it'd be a conflict of interest, and you said, "I don't think so. Let me look into it." And so you looked into it and came back and told me that that was doable. And so I submitted my name to the application process and had an interview and was offered the position and promptly turned in my resignation to SAISD. And so that's how this all came about.
Yeah, that was right in the very beginning of a church service, like right before it started. And you said, "Hey, I think I might be interested in the children's ministry position."
It took you a minute to register that.
I know, because I was thinking, I never thought of this before. Anyway, because we had already thought about, where we were going to go, who we were going to be talking to. And whenever she came up out of the blue, it was just perfect. So I don't remember what that
Good call.
was.
Good fit.
Yeah, it was great. And, the thing that I love is that you've got so much energy. Do you think you have more energy now than you did when you were teaching?
Absolutely. Because I'm not tired all the time. It's the same. It's still working with children, which I love to do. It's just different than being in the public school.
A lot less papers to grade.
Absolutely. No papers to grade.
Right.
And a lot less stress from administration. And it's just wonderful because I get to work with some great families and great kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And great adults who volunteer in our program.
So you've been doing this for how long now?
3.5 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right?
Time flies.
When you're having fun.
And if you want to know a little bit more about what Elizabeth does, just go on our YouTube page and look up the children's moment. Starts off with a little whistling. There's how many now?
Well, we're slowly kind of getting our back catalog put up on the YouTube channel because I think you've probably done close to 100.
Yeah, we've done quite a few.
Yeah. So. There's a lot.
Yep.
And I think that, it's we could probably do a Time Life commercial, Elizabeth's greatest hits.
Yeah.
Because there are some pretty funny
Maybe
ones.
throw some Phil in there too.
We could throw some Phil in there.
We could throw some Phil in there, but no goldfish.
Okay, really quickly, because some people who are listening or watching may want to know a little bit more about you. They may know you or see you on screen, but they don't really know who your family is or anything like that. So could you just kind of tell us who your family is?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm married to Michael. He is a counselor at Lone Star Middle School, also known as Lee Middle School, or previously known as Lee Middle School. We have 3 sons, Mitchell, who is married to Callie, and we have an adorable granddaughter, Riley, who is 5. And Keller works for a technology company in Austin. And then Cameron works for San Angelo Performing Arts Center. His title is Associate Development or something like that. I have actually 3 dogs as well, and they're all boys. So I was a lone female in a house of all men and boys. And I've lived in San Angelo all my life. I actually went to McGill Elementary and Lee Middle School or Lee Junior High and then Central High School. And then I got to go back and teach at McGill. So that was pretty special. I've come to Johnson Street since 1980 and seen lots of changes. And
Now, did you and Michael meet through the campus ministry?
We
here?
met through the campus center. The way he tells the story is I was sitting in Sue Barnett's office, and he came to the door, and she said, "Michael, this is Elizabeth Latham at the time, and this is Michael O'Brien." And I went, "Oh, hi." And then I turned back to her and we started talking. I don't remember it that way, but that's the way he says it happened. And then we started dating, and the rest is history, as they say.
Awesome.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
So the campus center has a special place in our heart.
And y'all been married for
Since 1986.
1986. You do the math, right?
That's right.
That is great.
Going on 36 years.
That's great. And I seriously, I'm just telling you, you have some of the most energy that I've ever seen of a children's minister. Even children's ministers who are in their 20s are a little bit more tired than you. So I don't know how you do it, but is it nuclear? I don't really know how you.
I just love what I do. And so to me, that just gives me energy and strength, seeing like the results of what we do, how the kids enjoy it, and how the families and parents really enjoy and love what we do. That gives me strength. God gives me strength.
Children's ministry has always been a passion of mine. I'm sure it is of Jeff's as well, because he was a youth minister.
Not
Can't
a bit.
stand kids.
Oh, well, let's go on to the next line of
I
questions.
know, right?
Children's ministry has always been a passion of mine, because I know that if you can find a way to develop these kids and give them a healthy sense of who they are and their place in this world. And yes, we want them to know that God loves them, but we also want them to know that there is purpose for them. And it's not just, everything's fine and great, but to figure out that the gathering of God's people is an important part of their everyday life. Right?
Absolutely. And that it is pretty, to me, it's critical for them to be a part of God's family and to know that they are loved not just by their family, but other families in church and, God, of course, but to know that there are people that love them and want the best for them and look out for their well-being and want to help them grow and learn to be kind and learn to serve others and kind of learn what it means to be part of a community.
Yeah, because it's a lot more than Play-Doh and cutting out shapes.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot that goes into the children's ministry here at Johnson Street. But today we kind of wanted to focus primarily on our program called One Way.
Yes.
Can you tell us what One Way is all about?
One Way is our children's worship time. So a couple of things. When we kind of changed the name, and so I was looking at what name would show people the direction we're trying to go. And One Way came to my mind, and then Phil said, "Oh, well, there's a song." And sure enough, there's a One Way song. So every Sunday when the kids come up for worship, we play the One Way song, and they do the One Way song, and it's great. A couple of things when we started, somebody asked me if we were going to do children's worship for the whole service. And it's really important for me for the kids to be in the corporate worship until after communion. I think it's important for them to see adults worshiping, taking communion, being in fellowship with one another. What does that look like? What does it sound like? And so I didn't want to pull them out for the whole worship service. I wanted them to be a part of the corporate worship and then to have their own time. And One Way is a time. It's 4-year-old through 4th grade, and it's a time when they can focus on God at their level. And every month is a new theme, and we have a new memory verse, and we watch a Bible story through video, and then we do small group activities that focus on whatever that lesson was for the day. And it's on their level. So like 4-year-olds are getting what they need, and then 4th graders are getting what they need. There's a little less hands-on for 4th graders than there are for kindergarten and 4-year-olds because they don't need as much. But there are times when they get to do, painting or working with water or whatever the lesson calls for. And so it's just a time when they can learn about God and learn what it means to worship, but on their level.
And it's not just a one-room schoolhouse type of a scenario.
No, it's not. We have classes. We have every grade level is in their own space so that they have room to move and room to work with adults. We change teams. There are 5 teams, and those 5 teams work 2 months a year with 5 months in between. So right now, the May team they just started last week, and it's 1 to 2 adults in every grade level, and they get the lesson at the beginning of the week, and they come in, everything's ready for them, and they love on the kids, and they do the activities with the kids, and it's great. So the kids get a lot of exposure to different adults other than just me.
And this has been a conversation that we've had a long time ago, even in Houston. Whenever I was there, we had a brand new program that said, hey, we're going to take our kids. So from the moment they come to church, they're basically in their own program for till the end of the day, 2.5 hours or so. And there was a lot of appeal to that at first, because, they were excited, they were growing. But what I learned is that there was one moment whenever I wanted my child, to come with me to church, to be with me for this special Sunday, and she started to cry. And we're like, what's wrong? And she's like, you're punishing me, making me go to church. I want to go to whatever the thing was called. And Shelly and I were like, oh no, this may not have had the right effect, But, I really like what you do, because what that does is it lets us all know that there is a time when we need to be together, and there's a time when it's okay. We can separate out into our own specific groups, and
I'll tell you what, having those kids in there for our assembled worship time is a blessing to the congregation. I mean, there have been Sundays where you can hear some of those little kids just singing out, and it touches everyone's hearts. So it's awesome.
I am a firm believer in multi-generational worship and time together, because some of our little ones don't know some of the senior saints. And so, I don't know that they're going to necessarily get to meet them, but they get to worship with them. And how great is that? So,
and the highlight for a lot of these kids is our children's moment. That, we have one of those every Sunday. And sometimes they're just more fun, but sometimes, you're up there and you're telling them something really specific and serious, kind of albeit in a funny way.
Right. And I found it from some adults that they also enjoy the JSK moment. But I will tell you that Jeff really does his magic and adds a lot to the video and works with the video. And so it's really a team effort. So
okay, so I've had a question. I've had a question from some people that say, okay, because we started the JSK moment during COVID, because we were online and streaming, and we knew we had kids and just in the audience at home. So first question, why is that important, and why did we start doing the JSK moment? Okay. So just answer that for the COVID moment. Why did we start doing the JSK moment?
Because I wanted the kids to know that they were still a vital part of our church. Great. And having a special time for them, since they couldn't be here, that was important to me. So this JSK moment, which was maximum 3 to 4 minutes, was a small way that we could still incorporate our children into worship by giving them this special moment that was directed specifically at them. I didn't want them to feel like they'd been forgotten.
Yeah. And you were doing other things too, weren't you? Like making some packets or something that.
Yes, we were also making packets that parents could come pick up, and but the JSK moment specifically was just so that they felt like they were still part of the worship service, and that the message was directed toward them.
For a while, we even incorporated the one-way song.
Yes,
y'all remember that?
Yes, we did.
And that was a full sensory experience.
Yes, it was aerobic.
It's aerobic. We had, but we got our teens involved.
Yes.
Our staff.
Yes.
I don't know how we got our staff to do it.
I don't either.
But they were on stage doing the dance and everything.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was fun.
If you can get Brian Elliott to do a choreographed
Jerica Osborne
and Jerica Osborne to do a choreographed dance.
There you go.
It's praise. I guess you could say it's praise dancing, right?
Sure.
That's not something we do here.
No, it's not.
Street. But when it comes to our kids, we'll do anything to get their attention.
That's exactly right.
So here's part 2 of that question.
Okay.
I've had some people even ask me now, why are we still doing the JSK moment? We're back meeting and we have kids here. So why are we doing that? What's up?
Because church is not just for older people. Church is also for the kids. And so I didn't want them to feel like, oh, well, now that we're back, they've forgotten about us, that we're not important. No, that's not correct. Children are as important as adults. Every member of the church is important. And I felt like we needed to continue because the kids need to know that they're cared about. They still need a message geared toward them. So yeah, I wasn't going to stop it because the kids didn't stop watching or haven't stopped coming. They're still here. And so it was important to me to continue with that JSK moment to let them know, hey, we know you're still here and you're a vital part of this church community.
And we do still have people that are streaming only.
Yes.
Or people that, don't live here that watch from other places.
Yes.
I know I have nieces that don't live here, but live in New Mexico, and they've enjoyed watching those too. And so,
Jennifer Ashlock and Emma, they watch it from Kitale, Kenya. Yeah. So
as do her kids.
Yes, from the children's home. So we reach kids from lots of different places. So yeah.
Yeah, so that is one of those that's one of those questions that I think is important to answer because some people say, well, why aren't we going back to normal? We don't need the kids moment because we have one way and we have the other. There is no more normal, by the way. The normal is no longer. Yeah. But I do think it is important to know that if this is a highlight of these kids' day, if this is the one thing that they look forward to in the service,
right.
And it's fun, it's lighthearted, very intentionally so, but there are some pretty deep truths that are presented in the ways that you guys have done them. And even our adults are learning, even though, it's for the kids.
Right.
But isn't that why we're here? I mean, aren't we coming to church to grow and to learn, not together individually alone? Hang on. Not individually alone, but together.
Right. To build each other up.
Yeah, to build each other up. And so
that includes our kids.
Why not encourage them? And the other thing you do is Kids for Kitale. Talk about that for a second.
So Jennifer Ashlock is our missionary over in Kitale, Kenya. She works at the Kitale Church of Christ Children's Home. And she grew up in this church. And she now works over there. She's kind of like the spiritual director for the children's home. For a while, she was doing it all. But we wanted a way that we could help her and involve our kids. So every Sunday, we have a Kids for Kitale. And the kids have money that they bring and they put in a basket. And we have two of our children, either two boys, two girls, or one girl and one boy, that come up and they have the baskets. And the kids come and they bring their offering. And they are having ownership in what Jennifer does. Right. They are sharing in her ministry by giving their money to her ministry and
sponsoring a couple of kids,
sponsoring some kids, or providing food, or helping fix something that's broken at the children's home, which there's always something broken at the children's home.
But you've been there before, haven't you?
We've been 3 times actually. Wow. And it's just amazing. And the kids speak of the Kids for Kitale moment when we're there. They know exactly where the money's coming from. They love watching the kids bring up their offering because that's part of what we show. Yeah. And that kind of helps them with the connection to our kids here and the kids there. And our kids here love doing it, because it helps them feel a part of what Jennifer's doing in Africa.
Do you remember whenever we looked at the amount of giving total since we started? Do you remember what that was?
I don't remember the number.
I can't remember it either, but it was mind-blowing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was about 60 or 70,000, wasn't it?
Yes, since we've started.
And we started this how long ago?
7 years ago?
No, I mean,
it's been then.
It was, whenever I got here, we started doing the Kids for Kitale offering.
Sorry, my mind is,
I know, it's crazy. I think it's probably only been maybe like 4 years.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
In 4 years, because they'll bring the offering, like these baskets down, and sometimes adults will give too, but the kids mainly give and adults do. And I think over 4 years period of time from our children's ministry, we've gotten an extra $60,000+.
Yeah.
I mean,
amazing.
that's crazy
Yeah, it's amazing.
to think that that's what God does.
Yep.
So that's kind of the why we, do one way the way we do it.
Yeah.
One of the other things we like to ask when we have guests here is, what do you need? What are some things that people who are listening or watching, how can they be involved? How can they pray for you? How can they help out in the children's ministry if they feel called to it?
If you need anything, I mean, if you need anything at all.
Well, I might could think of a couple of things. Absolutely pray. That's the most important thing. We feel those prayers within the ministry. But we are always needing volunteers. We have one way, and that's you can do it for 1 month if you want. I can partner you with someone who can take the other month. We have Bible classes. Stephanie Oviedo and Teddy Bass they're our coordinators. They get our preschool teachers and our elementary teachers for Sunday morning and for Wednesday night. There's also VBS coming up. We have 51 kids registered right now. It just opened up for everybody on May the 1st. So I expect us to get probably over 100, which we need volunteers for that. There will be opportunities for bringing snacks and providing, I don't know what, all kinds of supplies. So be watching for that, because that's an opportunity. Yeah.
So whenever I say, hey, I want to work in one way, which I would like to do, maybe I will just take a month off of preaching one day and just, but what does that look like whenever someone comes in and works in one way?
So one way, the lessons are scripted. What happens is every Monday, I send out an email to those who are working that particular Sunday coming up, and it's the lesson with all the activities. And I spend my week, among other things, getting all of the supplies ready. I bag it up. It's bagged by activities, like activity 1, everything you need is in the bag. So pretty much everything is done for you. You just come, you follow the script, you lead the kids through the activities, you show them the video, you love on the kids, have fun with the kids. Everything's done. I know that Stephanie and Teddy have everything done for their Sunday morning lessons as well. One way, like I said, is it's 2 months of the year, but there's 5 months apart. So May is also May and November. We take June and December off because those are big vacation months, and it's hard to find people to fill all the spots. And so we take June and December off. So the team that's doing right now in May will also work again in November. But I do have a couple of people who have 1 month, and then someone else has their other month in that same grade level, because they could only commit to one. If you can commit to one, I would take you gladly.
Well, and I love the fact that I've been in some places before where if you volunteer for something with the kids, it's kind of like you're just stuck and perpetually just being used all the time. So I love the fact that you just focus on a month and then, have a break for a little bit and come back another month down the road.
And not only do you get to work with the kids, but you also get to meet families.
Yeah.
You get to work with other adults that you may or may not know. So what a great way, especially coming out of, the COVID time.
Right.
What a great way to kind of reincorporate yourself into the church community by working alongside other adults, working with our kids, meeting our families. I mean, not only is it volunteering and helping us, but it's also a way to kind of meet maybe some new people that you didn't know before.
Another opportunity to connect with people you see every Sunday.
Right. And I know that Sherry and David in the nursery probably could also use some help there as well. And there you really work closely with other adults, because you're all kind of in the same setting as far as the nursery goes.
Yep.
But yeah, it doesn't just help us. It is a way for you to get to meet our families and our kids.
Yeah.
And
well, I believe that children are our future. And if you teach them well,
let them lead the way.
That's exactly right. Sorry I had to do it.
It's all right. Now I want to sing it.
I really appreciate everything you do. And
Oh, and you also, if you volunteer for One Way, don't you get a really cool?
You get a JSK shirt.
Oh, there you
like
go.
Mr. Jeff has on.
I haven't gotten to volunteer for One Way either, but I stole this one from my wife today.
if you're listening, it is a very fashionably and
We have lots of
tasteful
colors.
design.
That's right. We have lots
Very
of
colorful.
colors.
Several. I've got a couple of shirts in my office that I probably should give back to you, but
Nah, just keep them.
oh, it's great. Well, the thing is that I see that there's some momentum with our families, our young families, and kids will oftentimes bring their parents. I think that might be changing a little bit. I think that there is so this is my theory. You ready? In the 90s, we were really focused on catering to different age groups, whether it's children or teens, and we kind of let them do their own thing, for a while. And so what's happened is a lot of these parents are now adults, right? And so where they used to bring their families, their parents, now I think a lot of times now these adults are the kids and the families are having to bring each other. It's not, I don't know, there has to be something for everybody is what I'm saying.
Right.
And I think that we do a really good job of that here. I think you guys do such a great job with our children's area. It's very well done. It's never just, oh yeah, and here's the children's program. It's not, it's very intentional, and I just wish more families could experience it. So
Me too. But it's been really neat because I've seen lots of new families. I've met lots of new families since we about the last 2 months. So it's really neat to see some new families and to see some of the families that had kind of taken a step back due to COVID for health issues or whatever, and see them back again. So that's really cool too.
yeah. Well, I thank you so much for being here and
Sweetly.
for hanging out
It was
with
pretty
us.
painless.
It was very painless.
You were a little nervous about today,
I was a little nervous.
but you're great. You're a pro
great.
at this. But if you have any other questions about our children's ministry, if you have any, any ideas or suggestions, or just want to get involved, then you know what to do, right?
Right.
You can email Elizabeth at jscc.org. You can email Jeff at jscc.org, or you can email me, Scott, at jscc.org, and we would love to kind of point you in a great direction.
And if you have any questions or thoughts for future episodes, things that we haven't talked about yet that you would like to know about, feel free to leave a comment or shoot us an email, and we'll do that in the future.
That's right. If you just want to know why we do a particular thing, let us know, and we will talk about that.
They can call the church office too.
You can. They'll give you the what for.
That's
I'm
right.
sure. That's exactly right. Well, thank you so much for listening. I'm Scott,
And I'm Jeff.
and we will see you next time.
God bless.
Bye.